we should perhaps bring in Manasseh Azure Awuni at this point. He, of course, is a freelance investigative journalist, currently a journalism fellow at Harvard University. He joins us via Zoom. And as you know, he, of course, was the one who produced the original investigative report into SML's activities. Manasseh, it's good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, Kojo. I'm happy to join you.
Yeah, I know it's very early where you are, so we appreciate your time. Well, full report is out. First of all, how does it compare to the president's summarized version that was shared earlier?
Well, Kojo, it really looks worse than what the president's version or summarized version portrayed. And I suspected so because with the experience of the GRA report of 2013, I expected the actual report to be worse, and that is what it actually is.
Okay, I'm sure you have some specifics to illustrate.
Yes, if you look at the report, it gives detail about the very beginning of the contract. We were not very sure why the PPA would deny this company the approval. And as we proved in our documentary, the company didn't have any prior experience, and PPA said it lacked the capacity to do this work. And this report also throws more light on the accuracy of the meters that the company was using. And I think it is always and only proper that we explain to the audience who have not visited these depots that the company takes readings, that's SML. It has its ultrasonic, ultrasound flow meters, and these meters take readings. And if you watch the documentary, the SML engineers said that their meters did not take readings that were as accurate as the existing ones. And if you look at the explanation you're trying to give or all the technicalities, what it means is that SML's meters are outside of the pipe or the pipelines. And then the meters at the loading gantry, they are able to measure the exact amount of petroleum product that is consumed or lifted. And it is these readings that the GRA uses. And so the report mentions somewhere that the SML readings were not reliable, and then GRA did not use them. You also hear about these so-called weigh bills that were stored in sacks. The simple question I asked the GRA officials we went with was that you generate these weigh bills. GRA workers are at all the depots. They do all the work. They take the weigh bills, they generate them. So I asked, can't you scan these weigh bills if you were given these computers? And they said, well, scanning of weigh bills isn't any difficult thing. So it's like Joy FM, maybe your marketing department, you generate receipts. Then instead of scanning your own receipts, you give the receipt to another company to scan for you, so that if you want to make comparison in the future, you use the scanned one. And this isn't any difficult thing to do. So the report, even as bad as it is, also has some little issues that people need to understand. And of course, when you talk about the liftings, the documentary we did mentioned the two ways that revenue in the sector grows. And this revenue they are talking about is the tax you and I pay when we go to buy fuel at any filling station across the country. As the years go by, the volumes increase. And when they introduce new taxes and increase the rates of taxes, then the revenue also goes up. And so it is very, very inaccurate for anybody to say that SML whose readings were even not used by the GRA to collect taxes is responsible for the growth in revenue figures. If we stop this SML contract today, in 2027, GRA will come out to tell us that the amount of taxes they collect from the downstream petroleum sector this year will be less than what they will collect in 2027. More people will buy cars, more people will consume fuel products, the taxes, rates of taxes are likely to go out. And it is a simple reason that GRA's target every year keeps going up because businesses grow, volumes grow. And so the details appear to point these facts out.
Manasseh, the KPMG report actually seeks to determine which percentage of the growth can be attributed to SML and which percentage is attributed to just natural other causes, right? And by the KPMG's assessment, there is a calculation of how much of the growth, the year-on-year growth, was down to SML's monitoring. They've calculated.
No, I'm not sure they made that categorical statement. Maybe if you read it.
Well, they actually, Manasseh, they indicate the SML's involvement. They say involvement. So, for instance, if you look at the executive summary, page 28, it says,
yes.
Based on the analysis using the ESLA reported liftings as pre-SML average in the table above, the incremental reported volume that is attributable to the involvement of SML is determined as 1.7 billion liters for the period. This works out to a monthly average of 38.6 million liters per month. So the incremental revenue that is attributable to the involvement of SML is 2.45 billion for the period, and the fee of 720 million paid to SML for the same period constitutes 29.41% of the incremental tax revenue.
Okay. If you're talking about SML's involvement, if they just say SML's within the period SML operated, that might absolve them. But if you say SML's involvement, exactly what did SML do? We have within the period, we have the ERDMS, which has been introduced since 2018 to ensure that every order is placed on the platform. If you owe, you are logged out, and then whatever volume that is lifted is recorded on the platform and it is transferred to the ICOMs. This is the ERDMS that exists at the MPA. Then we have Rock Africa. Then we also have a Nationwide Technologies Limited. And these are companies and many others that are checking diversion, under declaration, and dilution of petroleum products. So we came to the conclusion that SML wasn't adding any value because these problems that were mentioned as causing Ghana to lose revenue, specific companies have been engaged. We are paying them money. They are at the depots. When you go to the depots today, they are there providing these services that are checking diversion, dilution, under declaration. SML listed these services on its website as the services that it delivered, for which reason the losses were curtailed. Then we went to SML together with GRA officials. The head of GRA's Petroleum was in the room when we mentioned that these services exist, but we have companies that are providing these services and not SML. And in the presence of the GRA officials, including the head of Petroleum, SML admitted that they were not providing these services. SML proceeded to delete these services from the website of the company So, Kojo, if we say that under declaration, diversion, dilution is causing us to lose revenue in the sector, now there are services that are curtailing these anomalies. And I've mentioned Nationwide Technologies Limited, I've mentioned Rock Africa. If you go to all the depots, they are there. I have mentioned the ERDMS. They are curtailing all of these problems or losses. SML also claims to be curtailing these losses or curbing these anomalies. We confront SML, and if you look at the documentary, it is there. We are not making a claim. SML openly said they were not providing these services. So it isn't only one company that is working. Besides, there are officials of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority at every depot working day and night to save the losses of the past. So what this report has failed to say and cannot say is how SML kept these or helped to improve revenue. When even the measurement SML takes, those measurements are not used for tax purposes. So the question we should be asking KPMG is, how can you attribute the growth to SML? Because there are many companies that are doing these services. And the question, a simple question I have not heard SML answer is whether they are checking diversion, whether they are checking dilution, whether they are checking under declaration or under reporting. We are losing revenue through these anomalies. The company that is being credited with the success is not performing any of these. So what problem is SML solving?
So Manasseh, page 22, if you look at paragraphs 3C, the qualitative benefits, KPMG says, for instance, for outflows, SML has installed flow meters at 24 out of the 26 depots, which serves as an alternate source for GRA to be able to determine quantities of petroleum products lifted at these locations, distinct from the volumes recorded by MPA and GRA in ERDMS and ICOMS, respectively. As of 31st December 2023, SML had flow meter readings in 16 out of the 24 depots, representing 76% of total petroleum products lifted.
Again, together with the GRA officials, we were at SML. And the GRA officials said that these figures SML churns out from these readings are problematic. Why are they problematic? That SML's meters record inter-depot transfer, so that if Joy FM is one depot that has another branch called Adom FM, your petroleum product at Joy FM may run out and you need product from Adom FM to supply. SML's meters does or do not discriminate between the ones that you sell to the public, and that is only the taxable volumes. SML's meters also record the one that you transfer from your sister depot to your own depot. So when they put these figures together and say, okay, this is how much has gone out, it comes to the GRA, and the GRA says, no, the only volumes we can use for tax purposes are those that are lifted for consumption in the markets. It is the reason GRA officials told us that they used to have problems or pressure from the Ministry of Finance with claims that their figures were lower than the actual liftings, but they investigated and realized that SML's meters indiscriminately recorded everything that goes through the pipelines, including the inter-depot transfers. And because of this, they couldn't use SML's readings So apart from the less accuracy, they are less accurate than the meters that are used at the loading gantries, and they also just record inter-depot transfers. So for these reasons, they are not using those figures. The question is, when SML's operations were suspended for 4 months, what was lost? The same readings that were used to calculate taxes are the same readings that continued and continue today.
Right.
And they don't only rely on these readings, there are also GRA officials at every depot and these officials ensure that whatever goes through the ERDMS is eventually printed out, and that's the way bills and everything. So these things that they have installed in 16 out of how many depots, it is neither here nor there, because in those depots that these meters are not there, there is no loss of revenue. I think that's what KPMG should have told us, that there are revenue losses or suspected leakages in the areas that haven't, or depots that have still not yet been covered by the SML. But there is no such leakage. And we asked the SML managing director that in your operations from 2018 till date, have you ever detected even one instance of anomaly under reporting, under declaration, or diversion? Just one instance. And he said no.
Okay.
Don't go into that.
Yeah. Manasseh, I think we'll wrap on this question. We have literally 30 seconds. Based on what the KPMG report says, are you satisfied that the president carried out the best recommendations regarding this contract?
No. The best recommendation is to clear everything out, because I have said over and over again that diversion, dilution, underreporting, and the fact that politically affiliated OMCs sell the product, take the taxes, and then they don't go back to pay to the government. These are the avenues through which the state loses revenue. As we speak from this report, I'm yet to hear anywhere that SML, they came in and they are tackling this particular problem. That is not there.
Okay.
So the best thing to do is to clear out this deal. It is just like the revenue assurance in the telco sector. SUBA, Kelny GVG, and all those things. Nobody has been able to tell us that this is what they are doing.
Yeah.
Or this is how they are saving the state money. So I am not impressed about the fact that they are still trying to keep aspects of this contract.
Okay. All right. I want to say a big thank you to you. I guess you can go back to sleep now, Manasseh. Manasseh Azure Awuni speaking to us from all the way out in the United States. But of course, Manasseh was behind the investigation that sparked the president's commissioning of KPMG to look into the SML contract.